Hello, 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 beautiful people. So, today I'm going to be exploring the connection between insomnia and the use of antibiotics. Can antibiotic use be a risk factor for insomnia, contribute to insomnia? How would it do that? Did your insomnia develop after you took antibiotics? If so, this might be why. So, antibiotic use in insomnia, how antibiotic use contributes to insomnia, how it might cause insomnia. So when we take antibiotics, antibiotics are indiscriminately killing bacteria. They don't just kill the bacteria that's causing the infection. Before I begin, if you have a really bad infection, take antibiotics. It is amazing that we can take these things and not die from horrible infections. So if you have a really bad infection, definitely take them. But if you need to take antibiotics, I will also at the end of the video go over what to do to make sure that or help ensure that it does not become a problem or contribute to disease. So antibiotics indiscriminately kill all the bacteria in your body for the most part. Not all, because I mean, can't kill all of it, but like they pretty much kill all of it, like very, very close to. They're very, very intense. They wipe out bacteria. And when they do that, they not only wipe out the bad bacteria, but they also wipe out the good bacteria. And this good bacteria, we need to break down food. We need it to produce enzymes. We need it to produce short chain fatty acids like butyrate, acetate, and propionate that feed our intestine, feed our epithelial cells. Our epithelial cells are responsible for nutrient absorption. And without those cells, we can't absorb nutrients. So when we wipe out all of our bacteria, not only are we wiping out those good bacteria, but we're also creating an ample environment for bad bacteria to take over. Good bacteria and bad bacteria are terms we use to describe different types of bacteria. In general, bad bacteria cause inflammation and good bacteria taper down inflammation, have an anti-inflammatory effect. We need both of them. If you don't have bad bacteria, then you will not be able to mount a proper immune response to things. But when all the good bacteria get wiped out, bad bacteria can take over, and this produces a highly inflammatory state in our gut. This inflammation leads to leaky gut because all the inflammation, it disrupts the tight junctions in the epithelial cells, and because of that, it creates leaky gut. Leaky gut can and does trigger autoimmunity when food particles, viruses, bacteria, foreign matter get through the tight junctions in the epithelial cells into the bloodstream. Our immune system has no choice but to react to that foreign matter. And it does so by mounting an immune response to it. And when it does that, that causes lots of inflammation. And it can also be a trigger of autoimmunity, where our immune cells start actually attacking the body itself. They start attacking us because they think that we're foreign matter. That can happen when bacteria that have a similar protein configuration on the outside of them to our own cells get through, and our body's like, oh, this bacteria is a foreign thing. We got to get rid of it. But it also starts to think that our own cells are those bacterial cells that it wants to get rid of. So it'll start attacking our own cells. This starts with leaky gut. One of the main causes of autoimmunity is leaky gut, and nearly everyone with an autoimmune issue has intestinal permeability or leaky gut. So this leaky gut comes about as a result of antibiotic use. Leaky gut, it creates the inflammation. The inflammation further damages the gut, and we get this damage to the gut, specifically the epithelial cells that line the gut. That damage happens both by autoimmunity attacking the epithelial cells, both by the inflammation damaging the epithelial cells, and by the lack of good bacteria to feed the epithelial cells butyrate, propionate, and acetate, these short chain fatty acids they need. So the epithelial cells that line our gut end up dying off. They end up becoming less efficient. They end up being less healthy. And then we get nutrient malabsorption. This nutrient malabsorption leads to many, many issues. Um, we need nutrients to produce neurotransmitters, we need nutrients to produce proper hormones, we need nutrients to have our body produce all the chemicals that are necessary and facilitate the reactions necessary to have a healthy, happy, robust body that functions properly. Autoimmunity can, well, one second, nutrient deficiency can damage sleep because improper gut function leads to calcium malabsorption, magnesium malabsorption, B vitamin malabsorption, malabsorption of all the vitamins and minerals necessary to produce the neurotransmitters necessary for sleep and to produce the proper metabolic responses necessary for sleep. But also autoimmunity itself can cause insomnia like more directly by actually damaging the receptors necessary in the brain to produce sleep, by inflaming the brain so the brain cannot metabolize nutrients effectively, and creating a general inflammatory environment in the body where in the case of insomniacs, that could be what's causing it. Now, this doesn't exclusively lead to insomnia. That's the other point. This does not exclusively lead to insomnia. If you have intestinal permeability and epithelial cell die-off in your gut caused by antibiotic use, that does not exclusively lead to insomnia. That can lead to everything ranging from cancer to diabetes to obesity to metabolic conditions to joint problems to skin conditions to, well, this system of oxidative stress and autoimmunity, which also contributes to oxidative stress, can cause a whole variety of things. So in certain instances, leaky gut leads to autoimmunity, which is celiac disease. Celiac disease is autoimmunity. Hashimoto thyroiditis is autoimmunity. Multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune condition. These are all caused indirectly by leaky gut. But they also, anytime we're having this immune response in the gut, we're getting a lot of inflammation in our body. Inflammation leads to accelerated aging, DNA mutation, damages cells, damages receptors, damages everything. So it's really a very general response. But whenever we have this general stress response, our body breaks down at the weakest link first. For me, that tends to be sleep. For you, if you're watching this because you have insomnia, then that weakest link is sleep for you as well. But this weakest link could be, it could even be waking up. Some people have chronic fatigue as a result of this oxidative stress and autoimmune reaction. Other people develop cancer. Other people develop weakness. Other people develop IBS. So there's a whole host. Other people develop neurological conditions such as depression, anxiety, ADHD, and these sorts of conditions. And these aren't exclusively caused by inflammation and oxidative stress and autoimmunity, but they can be. And inflammation, oxidative stress, and autoimmunity make all of these conditions worse. So this is how antibiotic use can create the conditions within our body that can trigger insomnia, can trigger autoimmunity, can trigger reactions to certain types of foods you didn't used to react to as a type of autoimmunity, and all of this. And this is all good bacteria die off and then bad bacteria taking over and causing issues. I mean, even if the bad bacteria don't take over, it still makes our gut less robust. And our gut is the main regulator of our immune system and inflammation in our body. Again, inflammation being the main driver of pretty much all dysfunction in our body when it becomes out of control. So if you're taking antibiotics or have to take antibiotics or have taken antibiotics, what can you do about this? Well, for starters, you can minimize your risk of needing antibiotics by having a robust gut microbiome to begin with. But if you do need antibiotics, definitely take them. And make sure that you are also supplementing with probiotic substances. I say substances because they don't just mean probiotic pills. Yogurt, raw milk, kefir, fermented apples. I really like fermented pickles. You can lacto ferment your own foods. These provide your body with lots of enzymes and good bacteria and short chain fatty acids, which help your gut health and help your whole body health. They're really, really, really amazing. So supplementing with probiotic substances is one thing you can do, but another thing you can do is you can cut down your consumption of seed oils, refined sugar, and flour. Flour and grains also contribute to bad bacteria overgrowth, making this bad. So if you improve your diet, eating lots of fruits, like fruit that you tolerate, potatoes if you tolerate those, like you want high quality fermentable fiber to feed good gut bacteria. So sweet potatoes, fruit, berries, plants, if you tolerate those well, like leafy greens can be good. Fermented foods like sauerkraut, which starts as leafy green cabbage and then becomes the fermented superfood sauerkraut, is always good. So you can always ferment your greens. You can ferment a lot of things if you're intolerant to them, like again, cabbage, spinach, kale, whatever. If you ferment these things, then they become less inflammatory. The anti-nutrients are destroyed. A lot of the inflammatory compounds are destroyed and they're made more easily digestible. So if you don't tolerate raw vegetables very well, you can ferment them. Similarly with fruit, if you're having issues digesting fruit for whatever reason, you could start with fermenting apples and eating those. And just eating fruit in general is good, but really eliminating those seed oils, flour, grains, and refined sugars is going to stop feeding bad bacteria, and then adding in just healthy foods in general is going to feed good bacteria. In addition, one thing that I have noticed in my coaching practice that is horrible for people to consume for gut health is energy drinks. Why are energy drinks so bad? Well, the combination of artificial sweeteners, which directly feed bad bacteria, and caffeine, which puts stress on the gut, is horrible. And I have seen people develop SIBO, IBS, and just chronic diarrhea. I too myself have developed that as a result of energy drink consumption. So that being the sole variable, I've seen that time and time again. It is horrible. These things are absolute poison and they should not be consumed. But on the subject of caffeine being a factor in putting stress in the gut, that is another thing to consider. If you're taking medications, drugs, recreational or otherwise, these will also put strain on your gut microbiome. And that strain can produce inflammation, which can cause leaky gut. So depending on your gut health, that may be causing you issues, but no matter what your gut health is, no matter what drugs you have to be on and why, you can always benefit by including probiotic substances such as fermented foods, yogurt, kefir. Probiotic pills are good if you can make sure that they don't have any nonsense in them. But in general, I have personally found a greater effect from consuming fermented foods. I ferment them myself. It's a very enjoyable process. They taste really good. But consuming those fermented foods makes your gut more robust, and that decreases stress, decreases a lot of different things. So another actual mechanism of antibiotics causing insomnia could be dysregulation of the HPA axis by the gut. So our gut microbiome and the HPA axis being the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and the adrenals are regulated by the gut. So if you're having adrenal issues, excessive production of cortisol, difficulty producing hormones, and in general, difficulty regulating your body, thermoregulation, sex hormone regulation, metabolic regulation as expressed by obesity, these things have a lot to do with the HPA axis, the hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis, which is regulated directly by the gut. So that could be causing insomnia as well, because a dysregulated HPA axis causes a dysregulated body, and a dysregulated gut leads to a dysregulated HPA axis, in addition to chronic inflammation and all these other things that cause problems. So if you have insomnia or any sort of chronic disease or issue as a result of or immediately following the taking of antibiotics, that could be the reason for that. Or if you seem prone to infection, prone to disease, and you have a lifetime history of taking antibiotics, that would be something to look into. And probiotic substances would be something to also look into, because those play a very powerful role in helping our gut to re-regulate itself after the consumption of antibiotics for any reason. I hope this video has been very helpful. If you have insomnia, then definitely check out the link down below where I have a Facebook group where I post relevant content for those with insomnia. I had insomnia myself for 19 years and I was able to fix it naturally without drugs. The insomnia I had actually was resistant to drugs. So yeah, it didn't do anything. No matter how many I took, it did nothing. And many people I've worked with have experienced the same thing. So if you have insomnia or any other issues and you want information, you can go check that out down below, where you can even contact me. And from time to time, I will help people personally who have issues. That's all. Have a great day.